and that animals actually evolved and changed from process, which he later called natural selection. But of course, in his day and age, we didn't know anything about genetics and how they passed down to ancestors. As years went by and Darwin continued to develop his theory, he wrote a book about it and started proving it. Now let's take a look into what his theory actually is and what it means. Charles Darwin believed that organisms, even of the same species, are all different, and a process called natural selection decides who survives and reproduces. He believed that genetics had no input into who survived, but who was simply lucky enough to have the special genes that helped them survive. The newest scientific definition is natural selection is a process by which organisms change over time as a result of changes in heritable, physical, or behavioral traits. Changes that allow an organism to better adapt to its environment will help it survive and have more offspring. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the most responsive to change, is what Darwin believed and wrote in his well-known book on evolution. His theory is also widely backed up by geology and genetics. An example of Darwin's theory of evolution is, he believed that in earlier ages giraffes did not have long necks. They originally had short necks, with some ones that had slightly longer ones. The ones with shorter necks weren't able to reach high trees that held their food, causing them to die of starvation. The ones with longer necks could reach their food and survived, reproduced, and eventually, all giraffes with slightly longer necks reproduced with each other, with their offspring's necks getting longer and longer as the gene gets passed down through generations. This is why he now believes giraffes have such long necks. When we put this situation with the original theory of evolution, also known as Lamarck's, it turned out like this. Giraffes originally had short necks, but through time they stretched their necks to be able to reach high trees that contain their foods. This makes much less sense and has no evidence of this being able to happen.